What's going on, everybody? I wanted to talk about combat rating today. A lot of people are breaking into H3 Hell 3 with the turn of Paragon 80. Server Paragon 80 is coming up in 3 more days, at least from me recording this video. So we're going to talk about every way to get combat rating in order for you to at least attempt or do everything you possibly can to get to those higher difficulties. Let's get into it. All right, so why is combat rating so important? Well, it's really just a hard gate to any sort of tiered progression in this game. Mainly, it's going to come in the fact of challenge rifts and hell difficulties. These are the main gates in terms of combat rating. So if we click on combat rating here, you'll see a detailed description of combat rating. Basically, what it does is if you are lower than the supposed difficulties combat rating, you will take massively increased damage and decreased damage dealt to them. If you are massively above, as you can see, I'm 667 combat rating higher. I only am dealing 12 or 20% extra damage and decreasing my damage by 16%. So not that high at all. If I have a 667 combat rating lower, I would probably be in the several thousands of a decrease or increased damage taken. I can go and swap over to Hell 4, which is a higher difficulty, and we can check out the combat rating there and see how it affects us. You can see we are 463 combat rating lower, and we are taking 581% damage and only dealing 15% damage. So again, really what it matters is once we get to the threshold of the combat rating in each mode, we will be basically able to farm there for the rest of the game. If you get higher, way higher than the supposed combat rating of each mode, we can hop over to Hell 2 right now. It basically does not matter at all in terms of speeding along your progression. We can see here in Hell 2, even more so than Hell 3, we're 1500 combat rating above, and we're only dealing 22% increased damage and 18% decreased damage taken. So again, if you're super mega wailing out, it's not going to change all that much in terms of progression in these modes. The real thing is accessing the modes, not necessarily speeding through the modes themselves. Now that we've gotten that out of the way and talked about combat rating, there's a huge priority on attaining combat rating. That way we can access these extra hell difficulties, especially if you are trying to get to those higher paragons and getting extra gear. Because remember, Hell 2 only goes up to 130, Hell 1 only goes up to 60. So if you've gone past 60 paragon levels, then you no longer can obtain upgrades from Hell 1. You need to move on to Hell 2. And the same applies to Hell 3, Hell 4, and Hell 5. So the first thing that we're going to talk about in obtaining combat rating is going to be your gear. Now, gear could be a tad bit confusing on how you obtain a combat rating from it because it doesn't actually say on the gear piece itself. But these attributes actually give you a combat rating each. You can see here it increases armor by 6, armor penetration by 6, and combat rating by 69. That's because every single point of attribute will give you a point of combat rating. So we can just add these rings over here: 41 plus 39, 80 combat rating; 43 plus 43, 86 combat rating, and that is how much combat rating you're going to get from your gear. Now, this is a massive source of combat rating. This is probably the biggest source of combat rating, even more so than the whales out there that are massively increasing their gems, unless you're talking about completely maxed out characters. In that case, you could get a lot of combat rating if you start to spend lots of money. But overall, this is how you obtain a lot of your combat rating. As you can see from this piece alone, I'm getting basically 107 or 207 combat rating from this one, or sorry, 206 combat rating from this one, which is a lot of combat rating in terms of one piece of gear. This is a Paragon 80 exceptional piece. Keep in mind that your gear could be regular, exceptional, and then of that exceptional could be 2 different types. You could have an exceptional triple stat, or like this shoulder piece, or where is it? This weapon right here, where it is an exceptional increased stat, but it's still a double stat. So that's how you're going to get combat rating from your gear. Now, along with your gear, you could actually get additional combat rating from the upgrades you put into your gear. Now, these set items on the left-hand side also could have the same roles as your main gear, but if you go over to Charcy over at the blacksmith, you will find out that these upgrades can also give you combat rating in the form of additional stats. So you can see here, I have not quite upgraded my pieces of gear. I can just move myself over real quick, and you can see here, we get 3 combat rating from the willpower and 3 combat rating from the fortitude when we actually upgrade our gear. So let's go ahead and do that across the board, and we're going to get 6 combat rating per upgrade. Now you're going to get 4 combat rating per upgrade until you reach rank 10, and that is when it starts to become 6 combat rating per upgrade at rank 10 and rank 11, getting some additional bonus stats as well. You can see here an additional 6 combat rating for going to rank 12 from rank 11. Same thing applies to these ones over here. You're going to get 2 or 4 combat rating rather from ranks 1 through 4, and then starting at rank 5 and then presumably onwards to about rank 8, you're going to get 6 combat rating per, and there you can go. We upgraded our combat rating across the board by 36 because we upgraded each one of these pieces. Now that is the second portion of combat rating that you're going to do with gear. Now the third portion of combat rating that you're going to get from gear is going to be your socketed gems. Now this is a more paid to play feature here in the legendary gems, pretty much completely pay to play, but you can get a little bit of combat rating from your legendary gems. So if we just look here at a 1-star, you'll see we'll get 8 combat rating. It's quite easy to rank these up to about rank 3 as a free to play at this point. So we're going to assume here that we are going to be able to get 16 combat rating per slot here. It's about 16 times 6. So you're going to get about 96 combat rating across your gear pieces as a free to play player. Getting past rank 3 on a 1-star is going to be very difficult. Even getting to rank 3 on a 2-star is going to be quite difficult. So rank 2 stars is going to be quite obtainable, but not rank 3. Those are going to be a little bit harder. And then if you get a rank 5 or a 5-star rather, getting that to rank 2 is going to be very difficult compared to the other pieces, but can happen depending on how you allocate your resources. Now the next portion of combat rating that you could acquire is incredibly important to make sure you're paying attention to, because it has to do with the Helliquary. Now in the Helliquary, you're going to have 2 different forms of resets. You're going to have the Lassel and the Vitath with the Scoria associated with these bosses. You're going to want to do this every Monday and Thursday, and then you can go to your Helliquary and actually upgrade your Helliquary. As you can see from above me, I am getting 154 combat rating from the Helliquary. Now this isn't necessarily a pay-to-play feature. It is actually extremely free-to-play friendly. If you've been grinding the game since day 1, you're going to be very, very close, if not the exact same combat rating that I've acquired from the Helliquary. And that is because I've been doing them every single time it reset. And you upgrade it, you also get 30 combat rating per one of these trophies. This one is a Challenge Rift trophy. So make sure you're doing your Helliquary every single reset and upgrading it. That way you get some bonus combat rating. A lot of people think this only applies to Challenge Rifts or anything. This is pure combat rating across your character, so you absolutely want to do it. The critical hit chance is Challenge Rift only, or whatever you decide to put in these top little artifact area. All the combat rating is across all game modes though, so make sure you're doing it. There you have it. Combat rating really only comes from your gear. You're going to have your attributes, the upgrade associated with your gear, and then the gem socketed inside of your gear. This also applies to your set items on the left-hand side, except for the socketed gem. You can see here I've taken off all of my armor, and if we just go ahead and check out the more attributes, you'll see that I'm at 281 combat rating. I have a warband item on, so I didn't want to take this one off. But we are getting 111 combat rating from this, which puts us at 170, plus an additional 16 puts us down to 154. And then if we just go ahead and include our Helliquary, that is the remaining 154 that my character currently has. So really, all you have to do is grind additional gear in order for you to get more combat rating. And this is what I feel like a lot of people miss out on, and that is you need to grind gear in this game in order for you to get those higher levels. If you are spending an exorbitant amount of money on this game, you definitely can get to higher areas of the game, but it is capped to some degree. It's about, I think, 240 combat rating per slot. So you're going to be able to get about 6 times 240, which puts you at around the, what is that, like 1400 mark in your terms of your legendary gems. So you still need to play the game a good amount in order for you to get those legendary items. And you could definitely see if we just go into our leaderboards here, and I compare myself to some really, really high spenders here. Where is John Souls here? John Souls is one of our higher spenders on our server, and he's got over almost 3,600 combat rating, and that is because he's got some rank 9 gems. You can see 216 combat rating there, 192 there, 216, but he also has some triple stat legendaries, exceptional pieces, and in combination between them all, he's going to get a lot of combat rating, way more than I have, and that's mainly due to the legendary gems here. But most of the combat rating is coming from your gear, and so you definitely need to work on that as you're going through. Again, unless you're spending absurd amounts of money where you're starting to spend tens of thousands of dollars, and then you could start getting a lot of combat rating from that portion as well. So let me know if this ended up helping you and helping you prepare. If you want to go ahead and get to those Hell 3 game modes, you just really need to grind more gear. And that is where the difference between free to play and pay to play. If you're grinder and free to play, you're going to be able to get to Hell 3, although it's going to take you a massive amount of time compared to a pay-to-play player. But if you're a pay-to-play, you still need to play the game in order to get those Hell 3 game modes. So there you have it. I'll see you in the next video.